after he suffered a suspected heart attack. He was rushed to hospital, but reportedly never regained consciousness. The LA coroner is investigating the cause of death. Crowds are gathering at the UCLA Medical Center and at his home. The star, who had a history of health problems, had been due to begin a series of comeback concerts in the UK in July. Well, the news of his death has been greeted with shock and disbelief, with tributes coming in from show business stars and from across the world. Alex Kruger has this report for us.
Outside the UCLA Medical Center, Michael Jackson's fans paid tribute in the best way they knew. He'd been found unconscious at his home and brought to the hospital in an ambulance. But he never regained consciousness, and 2 hours later, he was declared dead.
Our family requests that the media please respect our privacy during this tough time. And may Allah be with you, Michael, always. Love you.
A helicopter took his body from the hospital to the coroner's office. The star had a history of health problems. An autopsy will determine the cause of death. The music producer Nile Rodgers said Jackson changed the history of popular music.
You know, I've been around a lot of stars and I've been around a lot of great music, but when you listen to Michael's stuff, you can see that it was groundbreaking on many different levels. Imagine having a career over and over and over and over again, and each time that career jump-started the next phase of his life, it sort of changed pop culture.
Fans also gathered on Hollywood's Walk of Fame, many still unable to believe their idol was dead. Despite his troubled personal life, Jackson will be remembered as one of music's brightest stars. Alex Kruger, BBC News.
We're going live to Los Angeles now to our correspondent David Willis. David, we know now that the autopsy is going to be carried out sometime on Friday. The body is now at the LA coroner's, is it?
That's right, Alistair. About an hour and a half ago, Michael Jackson's body was taken from the UCLA Medical Center, where he was formally pronounced dead, to the coroner's office in downtown Los Angeles. Now, we're expecting the autopsy to be carried out, as you mentioned, tomorrow. It could be a couple of days, though, after that, until we get the results from that and the results from the toxicology examinations and so on, which will actually determine what was the cause of Michael Jackson's death. Now, a couple of clues. We know that he was under a lot of stress. He was about to undertake that 50 concert tour, which 50 concerts in London that would lined up for him starting just next month, in fact. There had already been speculation that he was concerned about that, that things were running late and that he was getting very stressed about that concert tour. Also, of course, we have a general picture of ill health in the latter part of Michael Jackson's life. He seems to have been dogged by medical problems. You may remember during the court case up in Santa Maria, California, where he faced those charges of child molestation, that he arrived in court one day in his pajamas, looking extremely bedraggled. And there have been these suggestions of addictions to prescription medication as well. So all of those things, I think, will be considerations for the coroner's officer, but it'll be very interesting to see what he concludes as far as the cause of death for Michael Jackson is.
David, you mentioned the UCLA hospital there, where Michael Jackson was taken, of course, from his home. And it's interesting that the fans who have been gathering and are still there, I gather, have been dancing in the streets.
Absolutely, yes. To a certain extent mourning, to a certain extent celebrating, and I think we'll get a mixture of that over the next couple of days, because there's no doubt an enormous outpouring of grief here in the United States. Already people here, commentators, are saying that this is a man whose musical legacy will rival that of Frank Sinatra and Bing Crosby and even Elvis Presley, of course, ironically, whose daughter Michael Jackson married somewhat briefly. But there are those who are saying that the controversial nature of Michael Jackson's life will be eclipsed in his death by the musical memories and memories of that, for example, the amazing album Thriller, which is still the biggest selling album of all time, and spawned at least 3 big hits. Those are the sort of things for which Michael Jackson will be remembered, and that history will be kind to him.
And as you're talking to us, we're seeing pictures there on your right-hand side of the screen there, the fans gathering at the Apollo Theatre in Harlem. And again, that black community, I mean, he meant something to everybody, didn't he? Right across the board, black and white.
Absolutely, and I think that is what will make the mourning that takes place over the next few days so large, if you like, on such a scale, because Michael Jackson did appeal across generations and across races, and there are many people who believe that he was a very emollient influence in terms of interracial relations and this sort of thing. Hence, the Reverend Al Sharpton coming out today and expressing his grief. But yes, I think you'll find that the concentration, as I mentioned, will be very much on the musical legacy and how much he has left behind.
David Willis, our correspondent there in Los Angeles. Many thanks, David. And